when Moshe Rabbeinu left this world to Gan Eden, right? When he left this world, Amar lo Yoshua, Sha'al mimeni kol sveikos sheyesh lecha. So listen to this beautiful exchange. So Moshe Rabbeinu is about to die. He's about to die. He says to Yoshua, Yoshua is not only his Talmud, but Yoshua is going to be the next leader. Yoshua, are there any areas of ambiguity that I can clarify for you? Because remember again, even Moshe Rabbeinu knows that once he dies, they're going to have to figure it out. Again, there's no such thing as going back to God. Isn't this incredible? You know, the reflexive reaction for a Jew in a time of need is, what do? You dive into HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You can dive into Hashem for whatever you want. You can dive into HaKadosh Baruch Hu for your parnasa, for refuah, for children, for atzlacha, for everything. The one thing apparently you cannot go back to God for is Torah. But I want to be clear on this. You can dive into HaKadosh Baruch Hu for siyata d'shmaya in retaining Torah, in understanding Torah, because those are divine gifts, the ability to retain, the ability to understand. But in terms of halachos, like is the halacha like this, is the halacha like this, that's here. That's here. That's not in the heavens anymore. The Baruch Hu has given us the Torah as well as all the necessary tools to figure out halacha. It's really quite incredible. Okay, so what happens? Moshe is about to die. He says to Yoshua, are there any areas of ambiguity that I can clarify for you before I die? So also listen to this. At first it sounds like a beautiful exchange. Amalo Rebbe. So Yoshua says, Rebbe, Klum hinachti chasha achos, v'alachti l'makom acher. Rebbe, I have never left your side. Right? Have I left your side for even a moment? And gone somewhere else? Lo kach kasafta bi. Rebbe, you yourself wrote about me in the Torah. Umishar so Yoshua binu nar lo yomish misocha ohel. So Yoshua says, Rebbe, I've been by your side every moment. I haven't missed a beat. Right? Even you yourself said I never left the tent. Miyad tashash kochol Yoshua. So both say Yoshua immediately after that was weakened. V'nishtachachu mimenu shlosh me'os halachos, and he forgot 300 halachos. V'nodulo sheva me'os sveikus, and there were 700 sveikos that came up. I will say, what happened over here? This was apparently a shtickle arrogance on the part of Yoshua, right? That Yoshua, so we'll say, if you look at Rashi, this is actually amazing. Rashi says, Nishtachachu mimenu miYoshua ba'avon shegam lahachlish daito shal Moshe. Yoshua caused Moshe pain through his response. How so? Shenitzta'er Moshe al Yoshua ba'atzmo shegadol kimoso. I will say, so Yoshua made himself sound like he was as great as Moshe Rabbeinu, and this caused a little bit of pain for Moshe Rabbeinu. As a result of causing pain to Moshe Rabbeinu, ultimately again Yoshua forgets all of this stuff. 700 sveikus, 300 halachas, and it will say as a result, va'amdu kol Yisrael lahargo. Was it? Can you imagine this? Klal Yisrael was ready to kill Yoshua. Why are they ready to kill Yoshua? Because again, remember, under Moshe Rabbeinu, Torah was perfect. He had everything. Now Yoshua is on the scene, and suddenly again, 700 sveikus. You will say, we can't relate to this because everything we have, like in halacha, is like a machlokes. Right? There's always a machlokes about everything. But again, once upon a time, there was incredible clarity. Now suddenly, again, there's sveikus. Klal Yisrael is ready to kill Yoshua. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu says to Yoshua, don't worry. Amar lo HaKadosh Baruch Hu, lo mar lecha yefshe. Yoshua, I'm sorry. I can't help you out. I can't tell you what the answers are. Why? Because lo b'shamayim. But I have a good eitzah. Lech v'tardan b'molchama. Get them busy with war. The incredible part about war is, you know what happens about war, I will say? Everybody forgets all of the other stuff. Shne'emar, v'ayeh acharei Moshe even Hashem, v'yomer Hashem. B'masnisa tana, I will say, elsewhere we learned, Elef u'shva me'os kalin v'chamur gzir Shabbos, v'dik tukei sofrim, nishta'achachu b'mei evlo shal Moshe. We'll say, listen to this, 1,700 kalin chamurin, right, kal v'chomers, gzir Shabbos, Dikduke Sofrim, all of this is forgotten during the days of Avilos for Moshe Rabbeinu. I'm Rabbi Avo. I will say, by the way, I want to tell you something. The notion of this concept of halachos being forgotten during the days of Avilos for Moshe Rabbeinu also represent the incredible and overwhelming tragedy of the loss of tzaddikim. when tzaddikim leave this world, there is a tumultuous impact and effect upon Klal Yisrael, upon the world. That's what's happening over here. The notion of forgetfulness means that what has occurred is so jarring and so overwhelming. Even though Moshe Rabbeinu was 120 years old, his death is absolutely no surprise to Klal Yisrael. But when a tzaddik is here, there's a certain amount of universal equilibrium that exists. The tzaddik is gone, there's like a rupture that occurs. That rupture manifests itself in the fact that Torah is even impacted. All of these halachos are forgotten. Rabbi Avo says, Afal Pikein, what's the first wide line? Zayin with Aleph, Afal Pikein, Hechziron Asniel ben Kenaz Misop Lapulo. Well, so interestingly enough, even though again when Moshe Rabbeinu died, all of these halachos are forgotten. Asniel ben Kenaz. Who's Asniel ben Kenaz? One of the early shoftim, right? One of the early shoftim. Ultimately, again, he was able. I'm sorry. Kalev son, as we're going to see in just a moment. Right, we're going to actually not only his son-in-law, but we're going to see actually his brother, right, his maternal brother, right. Their brothers-in-law, maternal brothers. So Asniel ben Kenaz was able to go ahead and restore all of it. Shnei Amar, as the pasuk says, Vayilkida Asniel ben Kenaz achi Kalev akatan mimenu. Right, Asniel ben Kenaz went and he conquered parts of Eretz Yisrael. Who was Asniel ben Kenaz? He was Kalev's younger brother. And what happens? Vayitein lo es achsa bita liishto. So we'll say, interestingly enough, so the pasuk identifies Asniel ben Kenaz as being Kalev's younger brother, and Kalev gave his daughter to Asniel ben Kenaz as a wife. So in other words, Asniel ben Kenaz, Asniel married his niece, right? He married his brother's daughter. And what was the name of his wife? Achsa. What a strange name. V'lama nikra shema Achsa. So the Gemara understands over here that Achsa is more of a descriptive name. Shekalara osa, because whoever would see Achsa, koes al ishto, would get angry at his wife. Okay, why? Do not say this over. Do not say this over. Why would he get angry at his wife? Rashi says koes al ishto mitoch yofya. So apparently again, Achsa was so beautiful that any man who would see her would inevitably compare her to his own wife. And again, she was so beautiful that no other woman would stand up to her beauty, so a man would get angry too about his wife. Okay? So what I said now, the Gemara over here quotes the pasuk. I'll quote you the pasuk in its entirety. The pasuk from Yoshua. So we'll say what happens. So now, Achsa goes and asks her father. So remember, who's her father? Kalev. She goes and she asks her father for a field. Literally, she gets off the donkey. My vatitznach, but what does lashon of vatitznach mean? Now Rashi says, we translate as she gets off the donkey. Rashi just points out over here is titznach is lashon savchad so'ekes. Titznach is a lashon of crying out. So what's happening over here? My vatitznach, Amrav Yitzchak, Amralo. So Achsa said to her husband Asniel, Ma chamor zeh, just like a donkey, kevan she'en lo machal ba'avuso, miyad zoik. If the donkey does not have food in its trough, it cries out. Kach isha she'en lo tvua b'soch beisa, miyad zoikes. So to a woman who does not have food in her home also cries out. But Shavuot says, there's another way of saying, Achsa was saying to her husband Asniel, you are such an incredible guy, but there's no parnasa. You're a tzaddik, you're incredible, you're heilig, but you are not bringing home the tvua. Miyad. So as the Gemara says, Miyad tzaddik. So Tomer, Tinei li bracha. So now Achsa decides, listen, she says to her husband, Asniel, let me go to my father. My father, Kalev, is very wealthy, and he'll be happy to help us out. After all, again, you're a big tzaddik, Asniel, you're very righteous, you're very pious. Let me go to my father to help us out. Vatomar, Tinei li bracha. So this is Achsa talking to her father, Kalev. She says to her father, give me a bracha, give me blessing. Ki eretz hanegev nasata bi. For you have only given me eretz hanegev. What does that mean? Bayis Sheminuga of Mikol Tova. You've married me off to a great guy. He's fantastic. Ala Mailis. There's only one problem. he doesn't bring home parnasa. Right? He's a fantastic guy. So you've given me everything, but again, we have no parnasa. V'nasatali gulos mayim. You've given me ultimately again springs of water. Adam she'ein bo ela Torah bilvad. Now she was praising. I want to be clear. Achsa is not complaining about her husband. She's very proud of her husband. You've given me a man who has springs, well springs. He's a great Talmid Chacham. He's very pious, but all he's got is Torah, right? And as we know, you can't live off Torah. Rabbi says, here's an incredible people. There are plenty of people who live off Torah, right? You know the best way to live off Torah? The best way to live off Torah? Rich father-in-law. Right? Again, mamish. It's incredible. The world is filled with such pious people who are living off Torah. But behind every Halik couple who's living off Torah, there's a successful father-in-law who's paying all of the bills. You know who you are. So the Gemara says, so what happens? Isn't it incredible? By the way, nothing has changed in the world. Right? Mamish. So you have a great guy. Asnil but Knaz is fantastic. Asnil Knaz is fantastic. And of course, listen to this. What does every single girl want? Achsa comes back from seminary. Right? And what does Achsa say to his father? All I want is to marry a Talmid Chacham. Right? And I'll do whatever it takes to marry a Talmid Chacham. Fantastic. She gets the best shidduch. She marries a Talmid Chacham. Shabbat Brachas is over. And then what does she remember? She remembers how she went shopping with her mother. Right? Right? And she remembers again how things were nice in her father's home. So what happens? Poor Asnil ben Kenaz again. She goes home to her. Don't worry about it. You learn. I'm going to go speak to my father. She goes back to her father. She says again, the shidduch is great. My husband is fantastic. We have a home that's filled with so much beautiful holiness. Can I have your credit card back? Can I have your credit card back? So what was incredible. Right, so sure enough, and Kalev again is a good father-in-law. Vayitein la Kalev as gulos alios ves gulos tachtios. So Kalev gives her literally again upper springs and lower springs, which means Kalev gives her land. Kalev gives her land. Of course, my daughter. Amarlah. Mishadar be'alyoni v'tachtoni mivakish mimenu mizonos. So Kalev again held up his son-in-law, who also happened to be his half-brother, as we're going to see. Right? So Kalev understood that Asnil ben Kenaz was a great man. So therefore he says, of course, someone who is so holy, someone who's such a tzaddik, should not have to lack for any kind of mizonos, and therefore again Kalev ultimately gives his daughter whatever she needs. The Kalev ben Kenazu. So what's that? So the Gemara interestingly identifies as Kalev as the son of Kenaz. Is that true that Kalev was the son of Kenaz? V'halo Kalev ben Yefunahu. Well, so we know Kalev is not the son of Kenaz. Kalev is the son of Yefunah. So the Gemara says, no. His father was actually Kenaz. So what's Yefunah? My Yefunah, that was a descriptive name. Shepana me'atzas meraglim. Ultimately, again, he turned away from the counsel of the spies. See, interesting, the Gemara is suggesting his name is not really Kalev ben Yefunah, his name is really Kalev ben Kenaz. Yefunah was the descriptive term because he summoned up the moral courage to turn away from the eats of the Meraglim. So the Gemara says, Ben Chetz, the Gemara Vakati ben Kenazu, but still is he the son of Kenaz? Ben Chetzronu, he's actually the son of Chetzron, Dichsev, the Kalev ben Chetzron, holid es Azuva. Kalev, the son of Chetzron, gave birth to Azuva. Now, I have to tell you, bless you, I have to tell you something amazing over here. If you remember again from our days in Sota, who's Azuva? All these stories are just absolutely, they're mind-blowing. If you look, Rashi over here is on both sides. You look in the left-hand column of Rashi, Holy Ves Azuva, Rashi quotes the Gemara Maseches Sota, Shenosa es Miriam, Shahaisa Azuva, Machmas Choli, Rechiven Shenosa L'Shem Shamayim, Ma'ala Avakasa Kili Yolda. Azuva, Rabbi says, actually Miriam. Is Miriam. Kalev married Miriam. Why is Miriam called Azuva? Miriam apparently was a little bit sickly. This is Miriam, the sister of Moshe and Aaron. Miriam was a little bit sickly. As a result, she couldn't get the shidduch. This is Miriam. I will say, again, I'm trying to point out to you something amazing. Whatever crisis or craziness you think we have now, people think we have problems like we never had before. It's not true. People are just as stupid now as they were 2,000, 3,000 years ago. The same stupidity, small-mindedness, and myopathy that exists now existed. Miriam couldn't get a shidduch. Miriam couldn't get a shidduch. Why couldn't Miriam get a shidduch? I guess she had some type of physical malady issue. There was something with her. There was something to the point where we'll say that the Navi calls her Azuva. Azuva means no one would even go near her. They left her aside. Kalev married her. Kalev ben Yefuna, Kalev ben Kenaz, Kalev ben Chetzron marries her. As a result, the pasuk says the Kalev ben Chetzron hold it as Azuva. It credits Kalev with birthing Miriam. Why does it credit him with birthing her? Because he gave her life. Because he was the one person who was willing to see her for who she was, the greatness for who she was, and he married her again because he realized her greatness, and as such he's given credit with birthing her. Amar Rava, so the Gemara says, Rava says, Chorgei diknasu. In fact, again, Kalev ultimately again was the stepson of Kenaz. So we'll say, so it turns out that halacha lemaisa, Kalev and Asniel were actually half brothers. They shared the same mother, but not the same father. So Asniel and Kalev were half brothers, but also ultimately again Asniel was the younger half brother of Kalev, but he then becomes Kalev's brother-in-law as well. Kalev's son-in-law when he marries Achsa, the daughter of Kalev. Good, beautiful. So the Gemara says Tana, who Asniel, who Yavitz. Asniel, right? Asniel. We'll say so again. Remember, Asniel ben Kenaz is one of the early shoftim. So Asniel he was also called Yavitz. Umashmo, what was really his name? Yehuda Achi Shimon Shmo. Ultimately, again, his name was really Yehuda, was the brother of Shimon. So the Gemara says, why is he given all these other descriptive names? Asniel Sha'ano Kel. He was called Asniel. Why? Because God answered him whenever he asked for something. God answered. I both say it was actually quite interesting. The fact that he's called Asniel because whenever he asked for something, God answered him. Yet, what just happened in the previous story? He didn't have parnasa. So I will say, so it could be A, he didn't ask, or B, he did ask, and what did he get? A rich father-in-law. Baruch Hashem. Right, ein bracha gedola mizo. Right, I have a rich father-in-law. Mamish. The shver was there. So the Gemara says as follows. So Asniel Sha'ano Kel. So ultimately, again, it's called Asniel. Why? Because Asniel, remember, is a contraction for God answered. God answered all of his tefillos. So the Sha'ano Kel, Yavitz. Why is he called Yavitz? Sheya'at v'ribeit Torah b'Yisrael. Because we'll say ultimately again he gave counsel and he caused the proliferation of Torah and Klal Yisrael. We'll say I just want to point out something also that's amazing. Is if you notice the model of the Shoftim is that they were scholar, teacher, warriors. It's an incredible thing. You know, Klal Yisrael, we lost this for thousands of years. You see this now re-emerging, especially again with the establishment of the state of Israel. It used to be, like you look at Moshe, look at Yoshua, these were warriors. Moshe Rabbeinu not as much, but Yoshua certainly, they were warriors. They were soldiers. They were Talmidei Chachamim, they were teachers of Torah, everything together. Asniel ben Kenaz is conquering Eretz Yisrael, is a teacher of Torah, is a scholar of Torah. So again, we lost this for a few thousand years, right? We became scholars, right? We became teachers, but not really warriors. One of the incredible things that we're beginning to see now, especially with the reestablishment of the state of Israel, is the notion, once again, of scholar warriors, of people who are willing to pick up the sword, fight for Am Yisrael, fight for Eretz Yisrael, but yet are also incredible Talmidei Chachamim, right? You go into the Hezder yeshivas, it's incredible to see. You see scholar words again. I always, to me, it's always something amazing because we didn't have this for thousands of years, and now you're beginning to see it once again take hold. So Asniel ben Kenaz, why is he called Asniel? Really incredible. Why is he called Asniel? Sorry, I lost the place. Right, from where do we know ultimately that God answered him when he asked? We'll say this is another incredible pasuk. Vayikra Yavitz leLokei Yisrael. So the pasuk over here says that Yavitz, which again I will say this is a pasuk from Divrei Hayomim. We're now identifying Yavitz as Asniel ben Kenaz. So Yavitz went ahead and called out to the God of Israel. We'll say this is a wild pasuk. This is incredible. This is again from that esoteric body of knowledge called Navi, right? Divrei Hayomim. That's all the way at the end, right? All the way at the end. So let's say, so listen to this. So Vayikra Yavitz leLokei Yisrael lemar, in Barech Tivarechani. Listen to this pasuk. So this is Yavitz, Asnil ben Kenaz speaking to God. He says, God, if you bless me, v'herbesi es gvulai, and you extend my borders, we'll see what this means. V'hayisa yodcha imadi, right? And you'll go ahead and your hand will be with me. Livilti atzavi, and you cause me not to experience any kind of sadness or loss. And what happens? Vayove Elokim es asher sha'al. God gave him everything he asked for. So what does this mean? So the Gemara now dissects the pasuk. In beirach tevaracheni, if you go ahead and you bless me, batorah. If you allow me to be a great Talmud Chacham, v'herbesi es gvulai, you expand my borders. What does that refer to? B'talmidim, you give me students. Vayisa yadcha imadi, your hand will be with me. Shali yishtachach talmudi milibi. Allow me not to forget. Give me the power of retention. Don't allow me to forget. Ultimately, again, my Torah. Va'asisa mir asi. She is damnu lireim. Give me friends. Right? Give me friends. They will say, but the right kind of friends. The right kind of friends. In other words, who are good support for my growth. Livilti atzavi, so that I should not experience any kind of sadness or setback. Shelo yiskavini yitzhara milashanos. The yitzhara should not prevent me from learning. Im ata osekein. So Astil ben Kenaz says to God, God, if you do this for me, mutav, excellent. Then love, but if you don't give me the things that I asked for, harini holech linesisi l'shaol. Then ultimately, again, what will happen? What will happen? Literally, again, I will go down in my suffering to Gehenna. So we'll say, what's happening over here is, or to the grave. So if you look at Rashi for just a moment, Rashi says over here, Kiyotzi, hold it for a second. So what's happening over here is Asliel ben Kenaz seems to be making like a deal with God. If you give me everything I need, then I'll be great. If you don't give me what I need, then what? Then I won't be great. Then I won't be great. Then I'll go down to the shul, go down to the grave, not accomplishing the things that I want to accomplish. Now I will say, now I'm sorry?
Sounds like a spoiled kid.
Now watch this. Now so what's happening over here? So this is incredible. So kiyotze badavar atomer. Now we'll say, now look at this Rashi. Kiyotze badavar shekol amoser atzmo lachser achar Torah memalo no shelosav. Then I will say, now generally what seems to be missing from this pasuk is what? What seems to be missing from this pasuk is like the other end of the bargain. Right? Asnil ben Kenaz saying to God, if you give me A, B, C, D, and E, then what? Then what? I'll do something. So there is an I'll do something. It's not articulated, but it's clear. Asnil ben Kenaz is saying, Rabbi Shmuel, give me the ability to be holy. And if you give me the ability to be holy, then what? I will be holy. And if you don't help me out in the pathway of holiness, then I'm sorry, don't expect anything great of me. The Gemara is bringing down these psukim as a raya to the concept that if a person with a whole heart says, Yibon Shalom, what I want more than anything is to be close to you. What I want more than anything is I want to be your man. That's what I want. I want to be your guy. I want to be holy. I want to be a Talmid Chacham. I want to be surrounded by excellent friends. I want to devote myself to Ruchnius. I want to become the greatest version of myself. If a person says that, believe Shalom, with a complete heart, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will absolutely and unequivocally help them along that journey. The catch over here is, are you really sincere about it? In other words, a lot of us say it. Of course, who doesn't want to be holy? Who doesn't want to be a Talmid Chacham? Who doesn't want to be great? So supposed to say we say it, but do we really want it? The Gemara is saying over here is, if you really want it, if you really, really want it with all of your essence, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will give it to you. If you don't really want it, then at the end of the day, you're not going to get it. That was the deal that Asnil ben Kenaz ultimately makes with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Give me what I need. Give me the tools to be great, and I promise you I will be great. Kiyotze badavar atomer. Another example of this, the Gemara says, quoting over here, the pasuk from Mishlei. Well, this is actually an incredible pasuk. Rash v'ish techachim nifgeshu. So ultimately, again, I will say, Rash means the Rasha, right, or the impoverished individual. V'ish techachim. If you look at Rashi, Rashi says over here, actually not yet. Rash v'ish techachim. So the impoverished person, v'ish techachim, and the middle class or mediocre person, ultimately meet Meir Einei Shneim Hashem. Kadosh Baruch Hu illuminates both of their eyes. What does that mean? This is incredible. B'shasha Talmid, Shat Talmid Holich Eitzel Rabo. We'll say when the Talmid, who's considered to be the impoverished person, goes to his Rebbe. The Rebbe is considered to be the middle class person, right? Who's the middle class person? The person who has stuff, right? The impoverished person has nothing. The middle class person has something. The Russian, right? So the impoverished person in this mashal is the Talmud who has nothing, goes to his Rebbe who has something. And what happens? Va'omer lo lamdeni Torah, and the Talmud goes to the Rebbe and says, Rebbe, teach me Torah. Im melamdo meir eish nehem. If the Rebbe decides to teach the Talmud Torah, if the Rebbe decides to teach the Talmud Torah, then what? Meir eish nehem. HaKadosh Baruch Hu illuminates both of their eyes. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives them both blessing. Vim lav, but if for some reason the Rebbe does not want to teach the Talmud, Ashir v'rash nifkashu osa kulam Hashem. Then that is like the rich person and the poor person meeting, and the HaKadosh Baruch Hu makes them both. What does that mean? Misha asau chacham lazeh osa tipesh. The one who made the wise man wise can make him foolish. Tipesh lazeh osa chacham. And the one who makes the foolish person foolish could make him wise. As I was saying, so when the Talmud comes to the Rebbe, and the Talmud says to the Rebbe, teach me Torah. If the Rebbe does his job and teaches, then Kadosh Baruch Hu gives them both blessing. If, however, the Rebbe says, no, I don't have time, I don't want to, then what happens? Kadosh Baruch Hu takes the wisdom from the Rebbe, gives it to the Tipish, because ultimately, again, he who made the wise man wise can make him foolish, just like he who made the foolish man, the poor man, poor or foolish, can make him wise. And Shabbos say is an incredible lesson as well, teaching us an incredible yesod, which is the resources that God gives us, whatever kind of resources they may be, intellectual resources, monetary resources, material resources, Kadosh Baruch Hu gives them to you to do good. If you use them for the right purposes, fantastic. If you misuse and abuse them, the same God who gave them to you ultimately again will take them away from you. Zu Mishnas Rabbi Nasa. Rabbi Yehuda Nasi Omer, in Barech Tivarechini. So also Rabbi Yehuda Nasi has a different drasha when it comes to Asnil ben Kenaz. And he understands the deal that Asnil ben Kenaz was making was as follows. In Barech Tivarechini, if you bless me, what's that a reference to? Bepir of Arivia. Give me children. Ve'beisi eskvulai, expand my boundaries. Bebanim ubebanos, give me a large family. V'haisa yadcha imadi, let your hand be with me. B'masa ubematon. Asnil ben Kenaz was asking for material success as well. V'asisa mirasi, shlo yehebe michosh rosh u'michosh einayim, u'michosh einayim. Let me be healthy. Let me be healthy. Don't give me any sickness. Levilti atzavi, shlo yisakveni yitzhara milashanos. Don't let the yitzhara prevent me from learning. Imata usekein. So we'll say, so the deal that Asnil ben Kenaz is making for Baruch Hu. Well, what's the deal? Give me a mishpacha, give me health, give me parnasa. If you give me all of these things, I am your man. I will devote myself in entirety to you. Vimlav, but if you don't give me these brachos, holech benesisi l'shol, then I will go with my suffering down to the grave. So we'll say, so again, and we know that, remember, Asnil ben Kenaz was making a sincere request, give me these things, and ultimately, again, Baruch Hu, I am your man. And Kadosh Baruch Hu gave us Asnil ben Kenaz everything that he had asked for. So the same way that Kadosh Baruch Hu, the pasuk says, the poor man and the wise man meet. Kadosh Baruch Hu illuminates both of their eyes. When the poor man comes to the balabas, and the poor man says to the rich man, give me parnasa, in the parnasa mutov. If the rich man gives him parnasa, excellent. Ve'im lav, but if the rich man refuses to support the poor man, then what happens? Ashir barash nifkashu, osa kulam Hashem, nisha aso ashir lazeh, osa ani. If the rich man does not do his job to help the poor man, HaKadosh Baruch Hu takes away his wealth, makes the poor man rich. Ani lazeh osa ashir. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu in turn gives his wealth to the rich man, to the poor man, who originally was born. So we'll say, so incredible sugya. Just to connect the dots over here, just to understand how we got into this to begin with, beautiful Gemara. Remember again, all of this traced itself back to the statement that when Moshe Rabbeinu died, many halachos were lost, 1,700, 3,000 a lot. The Gemara identifies one of the halachos that were lost was what? Chatas shemesu ba'alah. That what do you do ultimately again with a chatas whose owner died? That was part of the previous sugya, because remember again, we were speaking about two cases. Case number one of a person who lost the chatas, replaced the chatas, offered the chatas, found the first chatas, and then the shaila was what? What do you do with that first chatas? So by a chatas yochid, seems to be almost everyone agreed that what? You let it die. You let it die. The machlokis was what about the chatas of a tzibor? Right? Same case is the chatas of a tzibor, is it left to die? Or ultimately again, is it set out to pasture? That's a machlokes. The Gemara identifies that machlokes perhaps as one of the earliest machlokesim that occurred. That was literally a machlokes that came about as a result of the death of Moshe Rabbeinu. Incredible. Let's go back to it. Amar Rabbi Shimon Mamatzina. So let's remember again, so Rabbi Shimon came along in the Mishnah, and Rabbi Shimon was backing up the opinion of the Tanna Kama that halacha l'maisa, the concept of a chatas yachid is dafka adin of yachid, or is that halacha l'maisa was in the case we just mentioned, namely, an individual, I set aside a chatas, he lost the chatas, brought a replacement chatas, offered it up. After he offered up the replacement chatas, what happens? He finds the first one. So the Tanna Kama says that therefore the first one is left to die, tamus. But the Tanna Kama says that is only a din in the chatas yachid. That is not a din in the chatas of a tzibor. The chatas of a tzibor, we put that out to pasture, let it develop a mum, and then you can redeem it. Rabbi Shimon backs up the view of the Tanna Kama. So here we go. Temurah. Rabbi Shimon Omer, chamish chatos mesos. There are 5 chatos that are left to die. Five chatos are left to die. Chatos, so the Gemara says, Vlad chatos, the offspring of a chatos. Temurah's chatos. Temurah chatos. Chatos shemesu ba'ala. Chatos, ultimately again, whose owners died. Chatos shekipru ba'alaha. A chatos, whose owners achieved atonement through another animal. The chatos she'ibra shnasa. And a chatos that aged out, right? That just is now too old to be offered. We'll say all of these, Rabbi Shimon says, these are the 5 chatos that are left to die. So the Gemara says, I ata yochlomer vlad chatos betzibor. So let's analyze this. There is no such case as the case of vlad chatos. When it comes to the chatos of a tzibor, why not? Lefi shein chatos nekeva betzibor. Because I will say there is no such thing as a female chatos by any tzibor offering. Viata yochlomer temuras chatos betzibor. Similarly, again, there is no such thing as a temuras chatos betzibor. Why not? We know this. Lefi shein tzibor oset temurah. Because what says we've already established again the concept of temurah does not apply to any communal offerings, only applies to individual offerings. Viata yachalomer chatos shemesu ba'ala. Furthermore, again, the case of chatos whose owner died doesn't apply to a tzibor. Why? We learned this yesterday. Lefi she'enat tzibor mesim. Excellent, because the tzibor never dies. Right? She'enat tzibor. Lefi she'enat tzibor mesim. She'chabru ba'ala. V'she'ibru shnasa lo matzinu. We'll say ultimately again the case of where the chatas aged out. That also you cannot find it. I'm sorry. Shekibru ba'ala v'she'ibru shnasa lo matzinu. So we'll say there are 2 cases ever we don't know about. Case number 1 is shekibru ba'ala. What about the case of a chatas, right? Where again the tzibor, where ultimately again the tzibor set aside a chatas, got lost, identified or set aside a second animal, offered up that second animal, then they found the first. Or ibra shnasa, where the animal aged out. Shabbos say, we know that by a yachid, those chatos are left to die. What about in the case of a tzibur? What happens with those animals? Lo matzinu. So we'll say, we don't know the halacha. We don't know what the halacha is in that case. Yachol, you know, goes bein b'yachad bein b'tzibur. So you might have thought, therefore, this halacha should apply that tamos. The animal should be the chatos should be left to die, whether it's the chatos of an individual or of a tzibur. Amrit. So Rabbi Shimon will say, or the Rabbi Shimon says, I would tell you, Yilamit sasam in mafurash. Let's learn out the unknown cases from the known case. In other words, I will say, I have 3 cases that I know two cases that I don't know. Let's learn out the two cases that I don't know. That's the sasum, the unknown cases, from the cases that I do know. Right? And I would say, ma mefurash b'yachid v'lo b'tzibur, just like the previously articulated cases, only apply to a chatas of a yachid, not to a chatas of a tzibur. Af shekibru ba'alev v'shibru shnasa b'yachid, dvaram amurim b'yachid, dvaram amurim v'lo b'tzibur. So to Rabbi saying these two last cases, namely of a chatas that aged out, or of a chatas whose owners were able to achieve kapara through a second animal, I would say again that these halachos only apply to a yachid and not to a tzibur. The Gemara says, Amadeus, v'chidanin afshar b'shi'i afshar. But one second, how can you do that? After all, again, Rabosai, these other cases are possible by a tzibur, versus these two last cases which are not. So the Gemara says, Amrei Shlakish, arba'a nasnu lahen, v'ha'amidu malchamish. So Reish Lakish says, Rabbi says something very interesting, which is that halacha l'maisa, Reish Lakish says, in reality, we know as follows, that there were four cases that were given. If you look at Rashi, Rashi says over here, arba'a nitnu lahem. Arba'a nitnu lahem. Rashi says, kulam arba'a chatos nitnu lahem misinai, the mesos v'lo chamish. There were four cases that were given to them as a halacha l'moshe misinai, as chatos that were left to die, chatos that are left to die, and not five. The problem is we don't know ultimately. Again, we know there are five cases of chatos that are not used. 4 out of the 5 are left to die. 1 is not. What's the problem? We don't know which of the 5, which is the 5th case that doesn't have the din of tamus. And therefore, again, we kind of established all 5 as cases where the chatas is left to die. And if you want to say that all of them have to apply to a tzibor, hanach mi isnu b'tzibor, do all 5 of these cases apply by tzibor? And of course, the answer to that is no. Ela al karchech yelami tzasa mi mafurash. Rather, I will say the only thing we're left to is like this. We know 3 out of the 5 cases apply dafka to a yachid and not to a tzibor. So therefore, just what we have to do is we have to take the 2 remaining cases where we're not sure and just learn them out ultimately again from the 3 cases that we know. To which the Gemara says, Rabbi Nassan Omer, Achas Nasna Lahen, Ve'midu Al Chamish. Rabbi Nassan has a different opinion. Rabbi Nassan says that halacha l'maisa, in fact, out of the 5 cases mentioned, only one of the cases really has the din of misa. The other 4, the chatos that's left over is set out to pasture. The problem is what? We don't know which is the 1, and we don't know which is the 4. So just by default, we have to be machmir, and ultimately, again, let the animal die. Remember, again, both sides, the notion of Thomas letting the animal die is a chumrah. Right? Because remember, again, the other option, if you don't let the animal die, is what? Set it out to pasture, then what? Let it develop a mum, and then redeem it. So saying that it has to die ultimately is a chumrah. What Rabbi Nassan is suggesting is like this: out of the 5 cases that we know, in fact, the halacha is that only one of them actually has the halacha of Thomas. But because we don't know which one, we just simply have to be machmir and give all 5 of them the situation of Thomas. V'lech say b'hai sidra gemiri, ibi yachid ibi tzibur. But I don't understand. Why don't you go back and review the halachas and see which one was stated vis-a-vis a yachid and vis-a-vis a tzibur, to which the Gemara says, shtei shichachos shachachu. I will say, in fact, there were really 2 halachos that were forgotten over here. I will say, in other words, one halacha, or I should say, one area of halacha that was forgotten was which chatos are set out to pasture versus which are left to die. And then an additional suffix was what? When does it apply to a yachid? When does it apply to a tzibur? The kashalu, v'sakadaitcha b'tzibur, hanech nisnu b'tzibur, el shmamina yilami tzasa mimafurash. Says the Gemara, rather it turns out that what? We learn out the unknown cases from the known cases. Ma mafurash biyachad v'lo b'tzibor, af sasum biyachad v'lo b'tzibor. Rabbi say, just as the cases that we know only apply by tzibor and not by yachid, so to the cases that we don't know, we will apply that same paradigm. Therefore, Rabbi say, what the Gemara essentially does over here is as follows. The Gemara takes the 5 cases of chatos. So those, remember again, those 5 cases are again the case of Vlad Chatos, right? Vlad Chatos, Temurah Chatos, a chatos whose owner has died, a chatos whose owner have achieved ultimately kapara through another animal because the original chatos was lost, and ultimately again a chatos that aged out. 3 out of those 5 cases we know only apply to a tzibor and not to a yachid. The other 2 cases we don't know. But essentially what we do is we learn out what we don't know from what we do know, and therefore we go ahead and we push the other 2 cases into the same category as well. So it turns out that all 5 of those chatos rabosai are treated as cases that what? Only apply to a tzibor, not to a yachid. Only apply to a yachid, thank you, not to a tzibor, and therefore ultimately again are left to die. And rabosai, this is indeed actually how the Rambam paskins. I'll quote to you the Rambam. So this is the Rambam in Hilchos Psuli HaMukdashin, Perek Dalit Halacha Aleph. So listen to this. Vlad Chatos, Rambam lists these cases. Vlad Chatos, which is the offspring of a Chatos. Temurah's Chatos exchange. Chatos Shemesu Ba'aleha, right? Which is again a Chatos that was set aside by the owner, that the owner died before offering it up. Chatos Sha'avda V'nimtzeis Achar Shekipru Abaylim. Or we'll say ultimately again a Chatos that was set aside, lost, another animal was offered up in its stead. Then the first animal was found. So what's the halacha? Hare elu yamusu. I will say all of these animals ultimately are left to die. I'm going to skip a little bit in the Rambam. However, again, the Rambam says, Udvarim elu kula mipi Moshe Rabbeinu nishmu. Ein kol advarim amurim ela bechatos yochid bi'alufad. So I will say the halacha of the chamesh chatos, the 5 chatos cases, where the animal is left to die, the Rambam paskins, all of this is only stated by individual chatos, not stated by a communal chatos. Aval chatos sipor she'avda menimtzeis achar kapara bein ru'uya bein ein ru'uya tira ad she'ipol b'amum v'tigmakir v'yiplu damalem edava v'nat halacha lomar b'chatas vlad o Temurah o mesu baila shekol kavanos at sipor zechar mein sipor front. So I'll say, so therefore again, halacha l'maisa, the brisa of the 5 chatos that are left to die, we paskin that what? Those only apply to what kind of chatos? Chatos hayochid. Only to an individual's chatos, but do not apply to a communal chatos. Now I will say, some of them don't apply to a communal chatos because they can't occur with the communal chatos. So for example, the case of an offspring of a chatos can't apply to communal chatos. Why not? Because communal chatos only is a male animal, never a female animal. So, but halacha l'maisa, the case of the 5 chatos that are left to die, only apply to individual chatos, not to communal chatos. The Bossa will stop over. We'll pick up a Hashem at the Mishnah tomorrow.